was at an amusement park. Some people would right away say, well, you're in the wrong place. But I was at an amusement park trying to have fun. And I had a t-shirt on that was like the slogan for Nike at the time. You know, the Just Do It slogan. You all remember that for the Nike wear? And it said, just walk it, just talk it, just preach it, just teach it, just sing it, just say it, just do it, live for Jesus. I thought that was all right to wear that, you know, because I felt that was my heart. And so I'm standing with my wife, that pretty young lady right here. Can you wave at us, honey? She says, I'm doing a video. Leave me alone. All right, give her a hand, all right? Now, we had probably only been married a short time, and I was young because when we got married, I was only about 12 years old. I'm kidding you, all right? We were young, all right? I was 17 when we got married, and God has blessed us with 28 years coming up of marriage. We're 28 now, 29 coming up. Oh, I can't get that wrong, all right? And 5 kids, 3 kids-in-law, 7 grandkids. Praise God. And, well, I'm not supposed to say it, but and one on the way, too. They're trying to, you know. So I'm going to have 8. We're going to have 8. God bless us. And God's been good to us. So I'm standing there by my wife, and I did not have as much wisdom at that time in my life. You know, the last time when I preached at the Unity Revival, when we was across the river there, I had some of my beard grown out, and it was that wisdom beard. It was gray. Amen, Pastor? It was that wisdom beard that was grown out. Because that silver hair indicates that we have wisdom, huh? Amen. That's a good thing to believe. It is, all right. And so I didn't have that hair of wisdom at the time. And so I'm standing there by my wife, got that Christian t-shirt on, keep in mind. And I lean over to give her, now I'm not talking about just dipping down and giving her a lay it on you kiss that lasted 3 or 4 minutes. I'm talking just a peck on the cheek and a hug. Now there's nothing wrong with a husband giving his wife. Well, not only nothing wrong, I think we should, men. All right? So I give her that peck on the cheek and a hug. And this guy behind me says out loud, I wish they would get a room. And he said it mean, too. And he stared at me mean, too. So you know what I did? I didn't pray for him. All right? I got upset. It struck me wrong. And I wasn't trying to be a hot shot, you know, but I spun around. I felt a little better, Mike, because my dad was with me. And you know, when our dads are with us, we feel a little better about it because he was bigger than I was, all right? But I was thinking I was bigger at the time. And I didn't hit him, okay? Don't go there. But I spun around real quick. And I said, what did you say? And boy, then, you know, he kind of stepped back. He didn't think I heard him. I'm thinking, how in the world did you think I didn't hear you? You're standing right by me. And I began to say, this is my wife. I didn't do anything wrong. I'll kiss her if I want to kiss her. Who in the world, you know? And I just kind of went into a little bit of running off at the mouth. How many's ever run off at the mouth before? Oh, yes, we have. Adjust your halo a little bit, to, you know, because we all have. And I remember that situation turning a little more awkward because the gentleman did not, I'm calling him a gentleman because he did not exchange words back. And so he was, you know, we didn't end up in a full-fledged war there. But my dad, in his loving wisdom, we took 3 or 4 steps toward where we were going into that theme park, and he said, Troy, what about that t-shirt that you have on? Oh, man, that hurt. It did. I mean, that hurt. And I didn't want to say, you're right, Dad, at the time. I wanted to say, but what about what he said to me? But what about that guy being a real jerk, you know? And I had a right to tell him off. Well, there's too many people that are following Jesus that think we have a right to tell somebody off. And we want to give somebody a piece of our mind, but we've given away too many pieces already. Come on now. Look at someone beside you and say, don't give away anymore. Don't give away anymore. Yeah. And so I got a little upset, even with my dad. But you know why I got upset? I knew he was right. And so he said, son, and he didn't say this in front of that other guy. He didn't embarrass me. And he even walked me away a little bit from my precious, pretty young bride. And he said to me, he said, son, anytime you make a bold statement of faith, the enemy is going to bring a test of whether you're going to line up with your statement of faith or not line up with your statement of faith. Now, I don't want you all leaving here and saying, I ain't never wearing a Christian t-shirt. You know, I don't want you saying that. I've heard of guys before that talk about having a Jesus sticker on their car. There was a pastor that I knew growing up, and he said of all things, I was going to a minister's conference. Now listen, don't clock me. This isn't on my sermon. This is telling stories right now, okay? Is that all right?
That's fine. That's fine.
Well, good. All right. I'm going to tell you anyway, whether you want to say it's all right or not. But this pastor friend of mine, he said, I was going to a minister's conference of all things. And I had another pastor with me in the car and another pastor in the back seat. And I was driving, and this guy come up, cut us off. He was the one that did wrong in traffic. You all know what did. And yet he was the one that gave an obscene hand gesture and waved at him with a bad finger, to him. You know what he said? He said, I started honking. I started saying, pull over, and his temper got away from him before he even realized. Someone said, is that a man of God? Get it? A man of God. Now listen, because we are men, we are flesh. We're not perfect angels. Come on, somebody. Yeah, I understand the level of accountability that we're called to. But he said, I went to literally get to the place that I was going to pull off the road and jump out of the car. And he said, right about that time, I thought, oh, Lord, forgive me, because I have a sticker on the back of my car that says, follow me to the First Church of, well, I won't say it, so you won't know, okay? Well, God did a work right there. You say, well, what does that have to do with singing the song of Zion? Hey, can you imagine not only the world that we live in, where we have a testimony to live out in front of the pagan, in front of the heathen, in front of those that don't know Jesus, but think about the children of the Lord that were taken captive. They were in slavery, and there was literally making fun and people saying to them they're captors of all people, just like the devil stepping back and saying, why don't you sing now? Have you ever been a place in your life where it seemed like the enemy was whispering in your ear and saying, what happened to that service you were in a couple nights ago? Come on, somebody. I've been there before. Or, Pastor, what happened to that sermon you preached a week or two ago? I've been there before. I've had the Lord speak to me through my grandchildren, through my kids, through other people, through situations like that I was talking about. Why? Because He is perfecting me in the faith, just like He's perfecting you in the faith. Look at somebody and say, we are in a process. We are in a